Welcome, Badass Manifester. I am so glad you are here. I'm your host and head coach, Ashley Gordon, master mindset and manifestation biz expert, founder of the Quantum Coaching certification, and multiple six-figure entrepreneur obsessed with empowering you to create quantum leaps in your energy, your life, and your business. This is the show to help you make magic your everyday normal, where the ripple effect is real and the guest experts are world class. My mission is to power your conscious and subconscious mind with manifestation teachings, business tools, and coaching techniques to put your potential into action. Consider this your weekly up level. Are you ready for quantum transformation? Let's do this. Badass Manifestors, I have such a cool guest today. I am so excited. I have Lacey Sites, and we are in the CEO Mama Mastermind together. She is such an incredible business mentor. She's a success coach for high-performing women entrepreneurs through her company called A Lit Up Life. And she is the co-CEO of a company called Datable. Before we officially kick off today's episode, I want to share something that is really amazing with you. I was invited to be part of this amazing bundle, and I've done bundles in the past, and I really, really love this one specifically because number one, I love the creators that are in the bundle. And number two, the concept of the bundle is all about what I wish I knew, and it's called the golden ticket. So this bundle specifically is hosted by my friend, Lauren Eliz Love. Some of you know her. And it's all about the golden ticket. It's like what you need on your journey of becoming the version of yourself that you're meant to be, starting the business. It's all about how to coach and empowerment, how to sell in alignment, how to embody your power, how to follow your truth with authentic certainty, how to stand strong as a magnetic leader that you know you always were meant to be. And this is your golden ticket for making it happen. So a little bit about the golden ticket. It's a bundle of 13 trainings from incredible women in the online space who are soul aligning their way to success and teaching you how to do the same. Inside the bundle, you're going to have access to 13 different trainings that is valued at over $2,000. So it's a 95% discount because we are selling it for $97. So you get to watch and binge 13 pre-recorded masterclasses and courses. And it comes with a free podcast series featuring all of the guests with really juicy, beautiful interviews, with each of us sharing what we wish we knew before we started our businesses specifically. These are such good episodes. I started listening to them already, and I loved recording mine with Lauren. So a little bit more about the masterclasses. There's masterclass with Lauren, embodying the soul-led leader within. There's Danielle McCleary, who's teaching mind-blowing magnetism. There's Lydia McLean, who's teaching reclamation, a somatic breath and vocal alchemy journey to reclaim the voice of your womb. There's me, Quantum Coach Codes. I'm teaching you how to coach, how to start, lead, and guide your coaching sessions. There's Spacious Sales with Emily Brandt. There's Multidimensional Manifestation Bundle with Stephanie Bellinger. I mean, there's some really amazing things in here. Embodying Your Highest Vibration with Stephanie Burgos. Finding and Embodying Your Truth with Carissa Johnson. Becoming a Magnet Hypnosis with Jen Casey. There are so many. There's so many more too. There's 13 in total. So my suggestion to you is go to the link in the show notes right now, or the link in my Instagram bio at thequantum.coach, and get this bundle for $97. You will be so happy. Oh my God, there's also Elizabeth Faye, which is the power of glow breathwork into your life and business. She's amazing. QCA graduate, beautiful, amazing business owner. I'm so excited. So yeah, these master classes on their own over $2,000. You can get them today for just $97. You're going to get the golden ticket, and you're going to learn what we wish we all knew before we started our businesses. So click the link below and get it right now, and tag me and let me know that you got the bundle so I can share it.
and celebrate you. Okay, without further ado, enjoy today's episode.
Hi, Lacey. So
Hi.
excited you're here.
So happy to chat with you.
Yeah. So I would love for you to start with sharing how you created your brand, your seven-figure brand, A Lit Up Life, and just, yeah, share a little bit about your story of how you became who you are. And then we'll get into like all the Datable stuff because I know that everyone's going to want to hear about that too.
Yes, totally. So, I always feel like it's helpful to say this because I think that sometimes people just think like, oh, you just pick and then you did it. And that was not my story. It was like a very long, windy road of things like unfolding one after another. So, I had been working at a nonprofit. I had my MS in mental health counseling. So I'd been trained as a therapist. I was working at a nonprofit and I had quite a high level position. So I was like managing like millions of dollars and strategic planning. And I was like, who gave me this job? Like like I have not been trained for any of this. So I actually went back and got my MBA, and that's when I kind of like got more into like the strategic side. And then a story that is not worth telling is I had a really huge like ethical disagreement with the nonprofit I was at, and so I left like really unexpectedly, and just like kind of didn't know what was next. I felt like I had a really big identity, like a rock to my identity, because my identity was like being this person and having this job. And I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to start a business. Like I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life kind of thing. And then I randomly started another business, which was vintage new and used clothing resale. Like I was just doing that for fun
Cool.
because I like wasn't working.
Okay, girl
And
boss.
right. And then just like being in that space and like being partially in the online business world, things just kind of unfolded from there. And then when I found business coaching, I was like, oh, this is the thing that is all the things I love.
Wow.
But it wasn't intentional. Like I feel like I just like almost stumbled into it. I wasn't like, oh, I shall be a business coach. Like it just kind of unfolded over time, and that happened to find its way to me. But yeah, it was very like windy road.
Very cool how like ultimately it encompassed everything that you had already
Yeah.
like learned, like every little piece of your path like clicked into
Yep.
you becoming a business coach. And then how did you create your brand to be a little like were you like this is me, this is what I love? Was it always like that? Was it an evolution? Because I think people when they come into the space, they're like, I need to know exactly what my brand's going to be, and you know all of that. So I'm curious how your journey was with that because it's such
No.
a great name.
Thank you. No, not at all. Like I was not clear at all.
Yeah.
In fact, it's so funny. I remember, like a few, I don't know, it had to be like a year into coaching or something. I was just like doing my own branding. Like and branding isn't even the right word for that. Like I was just making my own graphics is maybe
Okay.
like a better way to say that. Right. And one of my like very sweet friends was like, for Christmas, I am gifting you a brand designer because you need help. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. That's really nice of you. But I was already making six figures at that point. Like, I think
Amazing.
like, obviously the online space has changed quite a bit. So I'm not saying that that's like super easy, but like what I really focused on and what built my brand is I went out and served people. I got on as many calls as I could. I coached people for free. I did like as much connecting as I possibly could. And like, I
Man.
never really focused on like, what does it look like? I focused more on like the connection piece, the relationship piece. And that's ultimately what built it. Is like doubling
Yeah.
down on that and going really hard there.
I want to highlight that because I completely agree. And that's exactly what I did as well. And I do think that that is so overlooked when
Oh
people
yeah.
come into the space and they're like, I'm going to start a business, and they launch something and it doesn't do what they want it to do. And it's because they didn't put in all that. That's like legwork,
Yep.
of like the connecting, but it comes from a place of genuinely wanting to serve. And I think that's so key. That's awesome.
Absolutely. Like, I think it's almost the question of, and I'm sure like your people listening resonate with this because they're like doing your program because they like care about this, right? But it's like, do you want to coach or do you just like want a business that you think is going to make you money quickly? Because those are very different
Right.
things, right? Mm-hmm.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. And I've had clients who are like, I'm just doing this for the money. And yes, I love helping people, but it's more about making money. And I think that it has to be like a really beautiful balance of all those
Yes.
elements. It can't just be one or the other, because I know people that are amazing at coaches, but not so great at making money, and people that, you know what I mean? It can go all the ways, but yeah, I love what you said. And just to go back to your friend who bought you your branding, that's a good friend right there.
Yes. She was like, you're doing great, but also you need some help. Right. But I do think that was, was the right place for me to focus. Like, I'm not the best at like the branding side of it. Right. So it's like, what was easiest for me and what was the most bang for my buck at the time to focus on was the relationship side. Cause that's also like what I'm better at. And so I think that's a conversation too about like leveraging what you're good at.
Totally. So Lacey and I are in a mastermind together. It's called CEO Mama. And we were talking when we were away at our retreat in Austin about, my God, my thought just went out of my head.
You're like, and it's gone.
Mom brain. We're totally keeping this in, by the way. We are not editing this out. It's going to come back to me. I remember we were talking about how we both started our businesses at a similar time.
Yes.
So how did you create the business? So you have a very unique business model. I think you do, where you're doing mainly one-on-one coaching and you do profit sharing with your clients. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because I feel like new coaches that come in the space, they're like, yeah, I don't really want to do one-on-one coaching. I want to just like go into group coaching and scale that and have bigger groups. And that's how I want to make, my impact and my income. So how did you decide that you were going to stick to one-on-one coaching, and how did you scale that to 7 figures? Because to me, that's super impressive. Also, because when I was doing only one-on-one coaching, I was burnt the fuck out.
Yeah, so, totally.
So
when I worked as a therapist, I did one-on-one, obviously, and I also ran some groups, and I always loved one-on-one better. Like, I could do a group, but like it felt like a much heavier lift most of the time. And I would see other therapists who were like, oh my God, don't you like love the group thing? And I'm like, no. Right. So like, I kind of had some insight coming into it already that like one-on-one was like a little more my lane and my jam. Like there was that. Right. But then, I did launch I launched one program, I think 3 times, at the beginning of my business. And our last launch, it was like, we did so well. We had like what for me at the time was such a big launch, and I just didn't like it. Like, it was like everything went right. It couldn't have gone better. Like things worked out. And I still was like, this is not as fun for me. Like nothing about this feels as good.
I want you to keep going, but I just want to pause there because I feel like that is such a beautiful, just truth bomb for yourself to be like, okay, what is true for me? And you didn't force it.
Right. I mean, and I definitely heard from a lot of people at that time, like, oh, you just have resistance to like growing bigger or whatever. And I was like, I'm willing to like excavate all of that. I'll get coaching around it. I'll look at it. But like, no matter how many ways I looked at it, I was like, I think I just don't like this as much. Like, I don't actually think it's a block. Like, I actually just think I don't like it that much.
Wow. Okay, cool. So you got real with yourself. And then what happened? You stopped launching?
Yeah. So I was basically like, okay, well, like, I just don't want to do that. Like, even if it means a lot more money. So what instead? And I remember having this like really awesome conversation with my dad, and he was like, okay, but you're making like 200K or something right now. Like, what if you just made that forever? Wouldn't that be awesome? And I was like, right, yes, duh. And I like, it was like an epiphany because our space is so like grow, right? And I was like, if I got to like work from home, do the thing that I'm most excited about and absolutely love, and I made multiple 6 figures forever doing that, like I would live my best life right on. So I kind of like came to this place of acceptance of like, I probably won't ever have a 7-figure business. Wow. And I was kind of in both. Like, I was like, I have acceptance around that. And like, I'm available for like a downloader idea that feels different. And I probably was in that place for, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months. And then one day I was just like taking a bubble bath and I was like, oh my God, I'll just do revenue share. And that was it.
Why do the best ideas come in the bubble bath? Always. I swear to God.
Always.
Okay. That's amazing. So you gave yourself, okay, there's a couple of things there energetically that you did. You accepted, which I find that like when we accept, the reality shifts. And so then the idea was able to come through.
Yes.
So when you say revenue share, can you explain that to everyone?
Yeah. So basically, all of my clients pay a base rate, which is $12.50 a month. So that's like, basically covers like team expenses, time, stuff like that. And then 10% of new revenue generated through our work together. So basically, like the way we do it is like, it's like, if you're making money already coming to me, I don't like get a piece of that. It's like new revenue through what we do and what we create together. And so every month we ask like, how much revenue did you make this month? They tell us and we invoice for 10% of that.
Wow. And when you pitch that to a client, because if I put myself in that mindset, I would feel, I don't know, I'd be like, I don't know. It feels hard to ask for that. Did it feel hard to ask for that for you or no?
I felt like I was kind of at a juncture where I was either going to raise my prices a decent amount or I was going to do that. And so I kind of felt like it was more palatable actually to be like, hey, I'm going to charge you revenue share versus just like X amount more kind of thing, because it's basically like a win-win. Like you make money if I make money, or like if you have a low month, you pay me less. And so that felt better to me, where it was almost like being paid off of results. Like that's what I always say about the model is like, the base rate is kind of like paying for the time, and then the revenue is like paying for the results kind of thing.
Love that.
And so that did feel better. Like I was like, hey, this is going to feel better to me to make. And I think it's going to feel better for you to pay.
And were your clients like, sign me up?
For the most part, I really had very little. I've had some people like question it over the years. But I was actually surprised at how little resistance I have. I mean, I've certainly had people be like, okay, that doesn't feel good to me. And my advice is always like, if this doesn't feel good to you, for sure, don't hire me, because you don't want this like friction point all the time. Right.
Yeah.
But like by and large, I feel like I've really not had a lot of resistance to that.
That's amazing. It also kind of feels like a partner in your business where you really, really, really care about your clients, period. And then you also really care about their success.
Yes. I actually call it the partnership model.
It really is the partnership model. It makes so much sense. So in your coaching work with them, are you helping them do like things in their business, or you're just coaching them?
I don't like implement, but I would say I'm like really in it. Like I would like review content. I would review a sales page. I would like look at their data. So it's not like I'm like execute, like I wouldn't go write the sales page kind of thing, but I'm like very in it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And do you take on everyone, or do you take on like someone listening is like, oh, I want to work with Lacey. Like, do you take on someone that's just beginning, or do they have to be at a certain level?
So I try to do a combination of both always. Cause it's really interesting with revenue share model, like different levels of business will impact that in different ways. So like I have some clients that have been with me since zero and now make over $1 million a year. Obviously I make a lot of revenue off that.
Right.
And then I have some clients who hired me way later in their business, and like, that's good in its own way. And the revenue share of that looks different. Sometimes like the potential is higher, or the potential to hit revenue faster is there, but like the long-term upside is different. So it's interesting. So I always try to keep a mix.
Wow. That's amazing. And what I love about it is that it's such a simplified way to do business. And you and I also have that in common, because we found out that we have the same human design.
Yes.
We're both 3-5 generators, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sacral authority. And of course we have like different gates and all of that, but, we have like a similar way that we like to do our business, which is keep it in like the most simplified model that we possibly can. Cause that lights me up.
Oh my God. So much. To me, it's like having like, we've both been in business like about 7 or 8 years, right? Having done almost the same thing for that long has paid off for me so much. Like not only does it light me up, but even in terms of like our one-on-one right now, like we have a wait list of over 500 people, and people are always like, oh my God, how did you do that? And I'm like, I've been talking about this for 8 years. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel like I've really poured into something, which I think is different than like how I would feel if I had been jumping around, which some people do so well with that. And it's not like that's wrong either. But yeah, like being able to really pour into something is like gives me so much life.
Yeah, because it's the compound effect, right? It's like that
Yes.
consistency and it kind of goes back to what your dad said around just like, just having that it's a certainty thing too.
Yes, totally.
I like the predictability of it, all of that.
Same,
That's
totally.
so
But there's
cool.
like a little unpredictability with revenue share, but
Sure.
not really. Do you know what I mean? Like there's still like
Yeah,
you can still know a range.
right. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
And two questions. One, don't leave my brain. Okay, the one that's in my brain right now is with revenue share. Oh, I know how many clients you take on, but can you share how many clients you take on, like you have at one time?
Yeah, I usually do about 20, maybe like I would say 20 to 23 is like a sweet spot for me. Yeah.
Wow. And how the heck do you keep track of all of it?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I have a really good memory. I also I think this is from like or previously having worked as a therapist, but I take exceptional notes. So like
Yeah.
each of my clients, I have like notes on everybody.
Right.
And we also just stay really connected. Like all my clients have a base camp with me, like, it's
Yeah.
just like a project management system. And so I talk to them frequently between sessions too. So it's like, I just feel like I kind of always have my finger on the pulse. Like, it's not like we go long periods of time without talking and then I'm trying to like reorient myself.
Totally. And you also have a really great way to track their data, which we'll get into in a second,
Yes.
which probably helps a lot
Yes.
with managing everything. And then my other question was, since you have so many one-on-one clients, which I think is amazing and remarkable across the board right now in the industry and everyone's businesses, would you say that revenue is up, down? Like, where is it?
I think our industry for sure has seen revenue go down this year. Like this year is in 2023, not like
Yeah.
calendar or not like 1 year, but like this year.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe last 6 to 9 months, I feel like revenue has for sure gone down for our industry as a whole. And with my own clients, I've seen a bit of a mix. I've seen some people like really have to make some pivots and make some changes. And I've also seen some people where like they're having like best months yet. And like one of my clients and I were just talking about, she just did a launch and we were like both genuinely surprised at how well it went. Like we were like, how did that happen? But I really feel like when the things that I'm seeing do super well right now are like very specific. Like someone really like picked a message and went all in on it.
Okay.
And they're really building trust with their audience. You and I talked about this in Austin too. Like our industry just has a trust problem right now. And I think the people that can close that gap are doing better.
That's so insightful. What do you think is like the best way to build the trust right now with the way the industry is going?
I think like everyone's over the like I'm on a pedestal stuff a little bit. So I think taking yourself off that, being authentic, I'm not saying that like I don't share a lot of my life. I'm not saying you have to be like massively vulnerable and share all this stuff, but I think like not holding yourself as a guru or like having yourself on a pedestal, I think. And then also I feel like, back to client results. Like, I feel like we got so far away from that. Like it only mattered what the person made. Like my coach made X amount. And I'm like, well, that means nothing about what they can help you do. Right.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up. And we did talk about this too, where we just can't with that. We just can't with the MLM of the coaching industry, you guys. Like, stop hiring people based on how much they make and start hiring them based on the results that they've helped their clients with, like actual results.
Those are different skill sets. Like they're not bad. They're both good. They're just like entirely different skill sets, right? It's kind of like, I think in sports where sometimes the best coaches aren't the best players and vice versa,
Oh, that is such a good analogy. It's so true. It's so freaking true. Like just because someone's really good at making money online does not mean that their clients are getting results.
100%. Yes. Like again, good for them. And that's a helpful skill set. It just doesn't always translate to like helping someone else do it. Right.
Well, I think that's good advice for someone listening who is like looking to hire a coach, or also like look at Lacey as an example, right? She has a 7-figure business and her clients are also 7-figure earners, which means that they have a really great business model and, a healthy business model, a sustainable business model, and they're getting the results that they want. So like, look at both,
Yes,
you know?
both matter for sure.
Yeah.
I think definitely client results matter a little bit more, but I do think both matter
Definitely.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So I'm curious what your favorite part is about what you do and the industry as a whole.
Oh, great question. What I do, I mean, I feel like I would just do this for free. Like, I just love talking to people one-on-one, like, and going deep with them. Like, if I'm at a party, that's also what I'm doing. Like, I'll be in the corner with one person, like
That is so me too.
yeah, right. Like,
I love that so much.
So it's like, I sometimes pinch myself and I'm like, people are paying me like lots of money to do this. This is wild. Like, if I could just talk to, like, in some ways, like even going to Austin, right, for CEO Mama, like, I'm paying to get to talk to other people about business all day. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the same thing. So
I do.
yeah, it just like, I just remain mind blown that I get to do this and like would want to do this regardless.
I love that so much. That's so beautiful. And like if you could see her, she's lit up right now. We're lit up. Yeah, it's awesome.
And the thing I love about our industry, like, oh my gosh, I just think about how lucky we are. Like the fact that we can build the businesses we do while being at home, while being close to our children, while like getting to do the things we do, like this just wasn't available to previous generations. Like or even the low investment, like my grandfather was a serial entrepreneur, and it's like, what he had to do when he was building businesses is he had to like go to the bank, take out a massive fucking loan and work his ass off for years until it started to return so he could pay that back. And like, that was how you built businesses. You know what I mean?
So true.
Like the fact that like, we're like the first kind of generation that gets to do it in this way. It's just, it makes me so excited.
It's so true. We're so lucky. So lucky. I mean, to think about right now, we're recording a podcast and this is for our business. This is for the service that we get to provide to you listening. Thousands of people. I mean, it's crazy. It's amazing.
It really is. Every time I like sit with that for a minute, I'm just like in utter gratitude. Like it just blows my mind.
It really does for me too. I'm so glad you said that. So good. So not only do you have your business, you also are a co-founder of another business.
Yes.
Called Datable. Okay. Tell us about that.
So, my co-founder actually, our co-CEO Jen, she actually was a client of mine, and was doing all of this amazing stuff with data. And I was just like, this is so incredible. Like I was so blown away by like what she was doing and just seeing like, as some of my clients got to know her and hired her, like what it changed in their business. I was always really kind of frustrated because one of the things I say to people a lot is like, your business will teach you more than other people ever will. Like if you pay attention to what your numbers are saying, you can learn more from your business than anyone else. And people would be like, but how? Right. And so there was always this like gap that I felt like I couldn't quite help people close. And Jen was just doing that. And she was my client for a couple of years. It never occurred to me like to do anything, but someone actually pitched her to partner with them. And she was like, okay, like, I'm like really interested in taking on a partner. Like maybe I'll do this. And we talked through it. Wasn't the right partner. Then someone else approached her. She like wasn't sure. And I was talking to my husband about this and I was like telling him like, Jen really needs to find someone that's like this and like this. And he just like looked at me and was like, sounds
That's
like you want it to be you. Like, do you hear yourself? And I'm like, stop, no. And then I like sat with that and I was like, oh my God, I do want it to be me. That's crazy. And so I approached Jen and obviously that's what happened. But what we really do is we help women just like leverage data in their business. So we help them build data dashboards, which sounds super unsexy, but is like actually really cool. So they can just like get a check on what's working in their business and what's not. I think our entire industry is based on someone else telling you that, like, oh, here's what you're missing. Here's what's not working for you. And just being able to see that in your business is like the most empowering thing I know.
So for example, on this, everyone listening, like when we were at the mastermind on my hot seat, what I learned about myself and my business was, the question of, do I have a lead problem or a conversion problem? And Lacey was like, well, let's look at it because we need to kind of see, that's going to tell you what to work on and what to double down on. So that's what we did. And I kind of got to, from our conversation, like actually the email piece of it, like our emails are not converting the way that we want them to, but I wouldn't have been able to figure that out unless I kind of backtracked, like we had talked about. And so knowing your data, knowing what is working in your business, even if you're brand new, is really important to kind of understand, to know what the fuck is working and what's not, because it's like throwing spaghetti at a wall if you really don't know.
It's also like really time, energy, and money, like draining, right? Like it's like you have such a small problem to solve now. Like you're like, oh, I just need to like up our conversion rates on our email like a little bit. And like it's gonna be so easy for you to spend time doing that. Where like, if you were like, oh my gosh, I have no idea, but someone's telling me I'm just making this up, like rework my entire funnel.
Right.
The amount of time, energy, and money you would put into reworking your whole funnel when that wasn't even the problem to begin with could be astronomical. And it's just like so easy to fall into that trap if you don't know, you know?
It's so true. And people are like looking, like people, when something's not working, and I was guilty of this, are finding ways to like fix a problem that you don't actually know where the problem exists. So it's like you're saying, if something in my launch isn't going the way that I want it to go or isn't working, then I might spend money to redo my sales page when that's actually not the issue at all.
Yep.
So yeah, it really helps you allocate your money and all of your resources, time, energy. Yeah.
I had a client come to me and she was like, you know, I think I'm going to like remove this offer from my business. Like, I just don't think the offer is working. And when we looked at all of her data, it was like, she had one of the most perfect funnels I've ever seen, except like everyone was adding to cart, and her checkout from add to cart was like super low. So it was like literally 95% of her funnel was almost perfect. But this one part at the end, like obviously people had objections or whatever, wasn't clicking. And it's like, she was about to scrap that entire product, and all of that she had worked to build was actually doing so well for her. And she had like one little problem to fix. And I feel like that's what people talk about when they're like, what's that saying? Like 5 feet from gold or whatever. Like she was 5 feet from gold and about to turn around, you know?
Whoa. And I think that is such a common theme in the industry where especially newer coaches, they make their funnel, or they make their product and they're like, this didn't sell, this isn't working, let's just make another one.
Yeah. Yes. I don't actually know what didn't work, but I'll just try something else and see.
Right. And I feel like that's another benefit of having a simplified business model, in a way where it's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's easy to find out what the problem is, but it can make it easier to then tweak it a bit.
Exactly. And actually it is really easy. Like the thing I love about what we teach people with Datable is like, they're like automated dashboards. So you have to like set them up, but like once they work, like they're pulling it for you all the time. So it's like, I literally get mine for a Lit Up Life and for Datable emailed to me every day. And I can just like open my email every day and be like, cool, this is working. This is not moving on. You don't actually have to look at them every day. I just am sick, but like in general, like it's so easy to actually spot things when you see that, and you can actually spot things before they become like a full-fledged problem. Like at Datable, I saw that our sales page used to do really well, and I've over time just seen it kind of going down. And I was like, oh, we need to make some tweaks here before this like really goes in a direction we don't want it to go. Right. And so it's just helpful to catch stuff earlier.
It's so amazing. And I mean, when I was sitting at the table and you were talking about Datable, and I was like, this is so over my head. Like I could never have this in my business. Like, and that's just not, I understand it now.
Yeah.
Just talking to you more and like watching your, the workshop that you sent me, like so good. It's so important in your business. And I wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of people that listen are like more like spiritual coaches and like woo woo. And we're like, yeah, like numbers, like, you know what I mean? I didn't realize how important they were, you know, but at this level, it's like, you have to.
That's actually, it's so funny because I appreciate you saying that, because it's like, in some ways I feel like I've I think I said this at the retreat, but like, I feel like I picked like a harder path than I needed to in some ways. Cause like we could just go sell this to like a bunch of bro marketers or whatever, and it would fly off the shelves. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because like they all like get it. They want data. Like most like male operated businesses are like relying solely on data kind of thing. Right. But we like chose to like niche into like women, service-based, that kind of thing, because it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like more spiritual coaches, more women, more like people doing the work we're doing. Like if they could get their hands on this and understand it and use it, like they could be growing in such a different way. And that feels super important to me, where it's like, it's a harder business in some ways, and it's a heavier lift to try to be like, really, I promise it's easier than it seems.
This will work.
Yeah. But like, it's worth it. Cause like, I would much rather, it's like, almost like we're missing out by not having this information in our hands, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you share, just for everyone listening, what is the investment to have something like Datable in your business?
So to buy the course itself, it's $1,297. It's like nothing.
Right.
Yeah, you'll have to like set it up yourself at that point,
Yes.
right? But
Yeah. Or your
it's
team.
so much easier than it seems, right? And once you buy the course at $1,297, like there's you get a seat in the course. So it's like, whether that's you or your OBM, or if your OBM leaves and then your new OBM takes it, like we're not like pay again. We're like,
Right.
this is your seat in the course. So that's important. But also we have on our website, there's like a free thing that if you just answer a couple questions, it'll tell you like the first things you should start tracking in your business, personalized to you. So like you could just start for free. Like we use Google Analytics. Google Analytics is free to start with. Like there's ways to just start accessing this information that doesn't even like require an investment. Obviously the investment is there to make it easier, faster, us to walk you through everything, but like you really can get data for free.
You really can.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so generous of you. And at bare minimum, like we should all have Google Analytics as part of our business. And
Yes.
the thing that you sent us to like implement that, my team is loving. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear
I'll tell you
that.
more about that later, but that was awesome. Awesome. And is that inside your course?
Yes.
Okay. So there's like a very specific guide that they set up for you to kind of put in to set up Google Analytics in a way that makes sense.
Yes. And that you can also delegate to your team. So like if you're someone that's like, there's just no way, which like there's plenty of people that are like that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like there's someone on your team that probably will love this shit. And like, this just helps them run with it.
Yeah, totally. So amazing. So is there anything else you want to share about just knowing your numbers, or anything at all around this topic?
I think the thing that I always want to share about this that feels relevant, and I feel like that helps it like land for a lot of us that are like coaches and mindset oriented, is like, I really think that data is one of the best mindset hacks that I know. Because I've seen clients, I think I had shared this with you too, but like one of my clients like set up her dashboards, and she sent me this Loom video, and she was like, I'm going to cry through this whole thing while I like walk you through my dashboards. And I was like thinking like her numbers were going to be terrible or something. And what she said is like, I can't remember like the last 3 years of my business thinking like I sucked, or like something was wrong with me, or like my audience just didn't like me. And like, I can just literally see that that's not true now. Like I can literally just see that if I just like got my funnel to convert 2% better, like everything in my business would change. And it's like the most empowered I've ever felt. And I think that's what's important, because so much of our online space is built on like, here's what's wrong with you. Here's what you're missing. Here's what you're not doing good enough. You're not as shiny as this person. And like, your data will just tell you what's true. And I think like sometimes we just need that, because our brains will go in like a million directions and make up a ton of shit. And like the data is just like, that's not true, bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm so glad that you said that too. And I feel like a lot of times you'll hear coaches say, you have to know your numbers, but a lot of people just don't even know where to start with that. And then that feels disempowering in and of itself, because they're like, I don't even know. I already feel like I'm failing because I don't know my numbers. And it's not just your revenue numbers. It's like different like conversion numbers and opt-ins and this and that. And so, yeah, if you had that black and white right in front of you, and you could see what's actually happening in your business, what really is working and what really isn't working, where you could tweak and make it work, to then, like you said, make your conversion 1 or 2% higher, how much more money and impact you could have.
Yeah. People are always shocked what you can know too. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whenever I talk about data, like it's like you could know which Instagram story got you the most sales, or you could know which platform not only brought you the most leads, but brought you the most qualified leads who buy from you. Like, there's so many things where people are like, how in the world could you know that? And it's like, all the big companies doing this are tracking every ounce of that. Like but like small businesses can know this shit. Like, it's just that it's
So cool.
It's so not a normalized conversation, you know?
Well, it's really funny because I feel like small businesses become big businesses by knowing this shit.
Ooh, look at that. Oh,
right?
That's going on the sales page.
Yeah, seriously. I think you should definitely put that on the sales page. That just dropped on it.
Thank you.
I love that. And wait, I wanted to say one more thing about it. How long does it take someone to go through the course? Like, how many hours is it? Do you know?
It really kind of depends, but what I always say to people is it will take you longer to go through the course than to actually build it. Like, to watch the thing and like learn the why behind it and why we're doing certain things and how we're thinking about data, that will take you longer than actually building the dashboards themselves. So it's like a one-time kind of investment that pays off for a long time. Like, I think sometimes people think, oh, I'll have to spend hours maintaining the dashboards every week. And it's not like that at all. Like, it's like a set it and forget it. I mean, you may update it, right? Because you're like, oh, we changed this landing page, or we want to add this funnel on or whatever. But it's really like a one-time investment to watch the course. And then like after that, it's easy.
Awesome. And I'm totally having my team go through it.
Oh, yay. So exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it and implement and report back. Because we need it. We literally need it. Like, I don't want to go on without knowing the data.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Because you're like, I want my life to be easier. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. It goes back to simplicity. It goes back to our human design.
Yes.
So good. I love this conversation. I'm so grateful that we could talk about this. And I love that you shared your story and your business model. And I have to ask you, what makes Lacey a badass manifester?
Oh, you know what I think it is? I hate that I'm about to give this answer because it's so hard for me. But what I have found over time is the way that I am always the best manifester is when I surrender. Like, every single time I surrender, I get the thing. Every single time I push against it, it's so much harder. So it's always that. And I'm a recovering control freak. So I hate that answer, but it's true.
Well, of course, that's your medicine, because
of course
that makes sense.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that. And I think that I think everyone's probably wondering, like, what is the way that you surrender? Bubble baths?
Bubble baths are a great one. Yes. I think like some of my manifestations that have like really been important to me and come to life have just taken a while. Like the house we live in now, we went through this like very long journey to make that happen. And I think what I had to do is make myself right that whole time. Like, that was part of the surrender, is like, okay, I'm in the right place. I'm doing the right thing. I surrender to what's happening right now. Where I feel like sometimes when we're trying to manifest a thing, we don't get it. We're so quick to like make ourselves wrong and then push harder. And so I think for me, a lot of surrender is like, I'm doing it right. I'm getting it right. It's working out for me. Like, I can lean into that.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's super helpful for everyone. Oh, so good. Okay. So where can everyone find you, connect with you, learn about Datable, all the things?
So my website is alituplife.com, and then Datable is getdatable.com.
Okay. Amazing. And your Instagram?
Oh yes. Instagram is alituplife. We have one for Datable, but we're not we're not like the most followable in some regard, because we're just talking about data all the time. And I feel like people are like, but
if you want to stock out data stuff, go to their Instagram.
Yeah. Get Datable.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time and your beautiful energy.
Oh my gosh. So appreciate you. This is so fun. Thank you.
So fun. All right, everyone. Talk to you next week.
Woo.
We did some work today. Thank you so much for listening. You know I love my BAM fam. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who you know would love it too, because we live for the ripple effect over here. And how can you best support the show? Make sure you're subscribed, hit the 5 stars, and leave a review on iTunes, and let me know how the podcast has impacted you. I love being part of your real-time journey, so screenshot the episode and tag me and my guests on Instagram at Manifest with Ash. Now say it with me. I am my own power source. I am the master of my own energy, and I deserve everything that I desire. We don't just talk about it over here, we be about it. Now go get 'em.